Okay, so today I was outside and I was talking to Spirit again, and I was going over a situation that happened to me last night. I uh, I ate a whole lot, and then I felt like I was sweating a lot, even though it wasn't really that cold out. It was like a temperature imbalance or something. And I got home and I felt so cold that I decided to take a shower because, a nice warm shower warms you up. So then once I got out of the shower, I felt a lot warmer and I felt sort of energetic. So I decided to, I don't know if you can see that, I have like a little pull-up thingy right there. I like to feel like I'm suspended, like climbing a tree or something. So, I do a couple pull-ups and stuff, and then I feel a lot warmer. And it was like as soon as I got my roommate sitting right here, and it was like as soon as I let go of the pull-up bar, I looked over and I saw something. I saw something really weird. It was like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't want it to come out wrong. Like I don't want it to sound really, I don't want it to sound negative. But it was like when I looked for just a split second, he was sitting on the couch right across from this, and it was like I felt so warm and good and excited. And I look over, and it was like I saw something totally different. I saw something that scared me, and I wasn't really sure why I saw that. It made me feel really uncomfortable. I guess the best way that I can describe it, it was like, what comes to mind is a compound element. It looked like, I know it was him, but what I saw was something like, alright, I'll just describe it. It was like, when someone looks mischievous? Let's see if I can. It's like the eyebrows were like this, okay? And this was down. So it was like very extreme, like that, alright? And it was like really slanted, like that. And I don't even know if I can remember what the face. It was the eyes, it was really just the eyes that got me. And it all happened so quickly that I was like, like I saw it and I was just kind of like, whoa, what the heck just happened right there? So I was like, okay, I'll just go outside and smoke a cigarette for a minute. So I went outside, I smoked a cigarette. Spirit kind of like talked to me, to calm down a little bit. So I came back inside and I felt colder, like I was sweating or something on the inside. And I calmed down. And then today, okay, so they were saying, you need to sleep. You need to sleep it off. You need to calm down. Have a little bit of water, just a little bit of water, and just calm down. Everything is okay. I'm like, okay. Because it seems like a lot of times I get so in the spiritual, I get so into another dimension. Like they were telling me it was like another dimension, and they said you were going so fast in that moment that your eyes showed you another dimension. So I don't know exactly what all of that is going on there, but anyways, today I was taking care of some stuff. I had some stuff to take care of with school, with the military and stuff. And I got back. I got a pumpkin coffee. I love pumpkin. And I sat down. I sat down outside on a chair. I'm just like sipping my drink. I'm looking up at the clouds. And they were talking to me about compound elements, and they were talking to me about breaking down compound elements within the body. So things are much clearer and not scary. Like they were trying to relate it to that moment that I had last night, so I could better understand what happened. And although I don't completely understand, this helps a little bit more. So they were like, okay, well, you realize that you ate a lot of different elements, a lot of compound elements, and it gave you a lot of energy. That's why you felt like you were sweating immediately, even though it was like warm out. I was like sweating anyways. It's because, you know, your body's trying to, like little factories in there. They're like trying to break down all these molecules, you know, so that it can be something simpler to use. And so it's like, you know, you got all this combustion happening and you feel like either you sweat or you work it out. Either way, it's like it moves through your system. And they were like, you know, when you have too many compound elements in your body, you feel like either hyper or uncomfortable or dehydrated, or, you know what I mean? It's like you need something else now to help your system process that, to help it work. Because they're, you know, these little cell bodies, they're like, you know, they're little factories trying to figure out, oh my God, it's a lot of fuels. And I got like a lot of other stuff going on. And they said that, you know, so when you use that in a physical manner, it's like, I'm not really sure. You know, I'm not even going to talk about it because I'm not really sure why that happened. But they were talking about how everyone's just got so many compound elements in their system. And they were talking about that's why you're switching more to like these liquids, you know what I mean? Like, I can always add sugar, I just like liquids a lot. It makes me feel like cleaner. It makes me feel like I can sweat and not be uncomfortable in any weather. I can always layer it up, you know, I can always work it out. But it doesn't feel like a compound element to me because it's fluid. And the sugar like helps me to think. I don't know why, but sugar for some reason helps to slow me down. You know what I mean? Like it speeds my mind up, but it somehow becomes in sync with my body. So it calms me down. So I enjoy that. That's just something that I enjoy. And okay, so then they were like, that's why you like fluids so much, because you move those compound elements through you. You know, when you talk it out, you know, it tends to relax you. It's why coffee tends to like relax people. I don't know, it's like a brain-body connection that sort of just like moves things through you. Moves those compound elements through you. And, you know, once I calmed down, I was looking at I like to, I don't know, check out what I'm doing with my hands here. So I was like outside and I'm looking through this, right? And it's like, okay, so I'm looking at it like this. Well, I had it down to like where my legs were, like kind of like this, and I'm looking at my pants. So it's like I like to play with my eyesight. It's like moving through it, or moving like to where I look at this and you look through it, you know. And it's like when you look through this like window. Yeah, when you look through this window, all right, and you focus in a certain way, and you're looking through it, so I can actually see you. I see the screen. It's like it's very everything else gets fuzzy, all right? So everything else gets fuzzy on this side when you look through it. But when you look at this, now everything else behind it is really fuzzy. And something I find interesting about cameras is that they don't do that. At least I don't think they do that, unless you want it to. You know, cameras have this ability to not be, they're like not objective, you know what I mean? But we're the observers, so we can like choose to look far away, look close up, look far away, but something always gets blurry. It's like being able to look at everything at once and have it not be blurry. Do you know what I'm saying? And like what made me think of that, because they were talking about the window. They were like, that's the window that we told you about. Now the window that they're talking about to me is that I always look at the stars, and something I really notice is that, well, I like unicorns. I like Pegasus. I like the fact that it's a horse with wings, and you know, a horse with a you know, the unicorn. It's like this magical like homing beacon. You know what I mean? Like it's just something that's really magical. So I always look at Pegasus in the sky, and it's a square. So it's got, you know, that's the body of Pegasus. Well, they told me that it's like a window. It's like a window, right? And I think it's really, well, I don't know if this is actually in the Bible, but I know there's like this story that, you know, people just seem to know is that, oh, the unicorns just didn't make it on the ark, right? You know, the unicorns just didn't make it or whatever. And it's in a lot of like fables and fairy tales and stuff like that. I'm like, maybe there's something about Pegasus, right? So they said it's a window. And I always see it like right there. Every night I can just look at Pegasus. Anyways, so they were like telling me that it was like what I saw last night was they said that's the difference in perception, is that when you have a lot of compound elements moving through your system, you see a compound element. You see something that looks complicated. It's something I'm not used to seeing. So it's like, it's only scary because I wasn't used to seeing it. I don't really have the answers as to why I felt uncomfortable, but I knew that it was something I wasn't used to seeing. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just talking it out. So they were like, that's the difference between this world and that world, is that, the window the window needs to be close enough so that the compound elements are not scary. I haven't really worked this all out, but I'm just going to talk it out a little more. It's like sometimes when the window is far away, it's hard to focus on something. When the window is really, really close, it's like, well, I guess maybe that's what happens, is that, your eyes, they say that's a window to your soul, that's a window to, the other side of things, possibly. And maybe when you don't have the two together, I think that's what snapped me back, is the fact that I wasn't ready to see something like that. I was pushing too much through my system in that moment. And although I felt good, it was like I had to calm down, because maybe it was like too much, you know what I mean? Because I know I feel a lot more calm, a lot more like sedated and comfortable in my own mind and my own body, and I don't feel the need to work it out. I don't feel the need to compound elements. I don't feel that need, because it's this warming fluid, and the taste is really good, and it moves things through you, and I feel a lot more centered. So it's like, I feel like I learned a lesson just by that one experience last night, which was a really scary snap of reality. And then today, realizing why that happened was that I just moved too fast. And now that I've moved stuff through my system, as silly as that is, I feel very calm. I feel comfortable talking about it, feel comfortable trying to figure it out. Because I was outside and I was like, Spirit, I really got to talk about this, because that was a really uncomfortable experience, and I know there's some positivity in there, and I got to find it. So now that I figured it out a little bit, I needed to share it. So the window, I'm really wondering if that's the window. That's the window to the other side of things. The stars getting closer, like when I see that, and then Pegasus, that window that they keep talking about, was like right there. You know what I mean? Like right there. Like every night. And it's something I always go back to for a reason. There's a reason for that. And when I tested this theory, this obvious thing here, or perception in your eyeballs, being able to, be here, you know what I mean? It's about just letting it happen naturally. I think that's one of the biggest things, is letting it happen naturally. That was another thing we were talking about while I was out running some errands. I was talking in the car, because I find it very difficult sometimes to concentrate in a vehicle unless I'm talking to myself, because I get so wrapped up in here that I literally am so ADD that I have a hard time staying in the physical realm. I just, you know what I mean? So I think that's why I enjoy coffee, is because it kind of centers me without having to have like medication or something too powerful, because then too connected and I freak out a little bit, you know what I mean? Like, it's just too much. But this is calm and gentle. Anyways, so I'm in the car, you know, we're talking, well, I'm talking it out, and then I listen to like a response, and then I talk it out, and you know, sometimes I like figure something out, and then they're like, yes, you know, yes, and they help me out. So anyway, we're talking about like rushing the system, and that was also about the compound element last night. Rushing the system, you know, I think about all the things that are happening right now, or they were happening. I actually haven't really checked up on the news in a very long time, so I could try to figure this out on my own, with, you know, with everything around me, using those things as tools to help me understand. And, you know, I was really concerned as to why so many planes are crashing, why trains keep derailing, and nuclear power plants, and, you know, all this stuff is like happening all at once. And I'm like, you know, and they were telling me about, because like I think it'd be really awesome to be able to fly. Like, I know there's a possibility in there. There's got to be a way to fly. And I know there's science to that. There's got to be science to that. If we can make vehicles that can fly, we're vehicles. There's no reason why we can't fly. And the inside is the same as the outside, so there has got to be a way to connect things to make that happen. Like, I know that intuitively it's totally possible. People have levitated, we have seen this. It's got to be possible. But I think it's amazing what we can do with machines here. I think that's really, really amazing that we can have a thought and create it into something like a plane. I think that's awesome. But what I also understand on a spiritual level, also physical, is that of course we can fly. If we can create it, of course we can fly, right? But I feel like we rush the system. We rush the outside system. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. What I'm saying is that when you rush the system to say, well, I want to fly, so I'm just going to create a machine to make me fly, I feel like that's when accidents happen. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like that's when accidents happen. Because there's a reason why I focused on, why are we having plane crashes? Why are we having plane crashes? Why? Why are we having train derailments? Why are we having that? You know, are we rushing the system? Do we need to fly in a plane? Do we need to be on a train? And, you know, it's like we rush the system. By separating ourselves from, you know, other people, being so far away and stuff, we now rush the system a bit by, you know, needing trains and planes and automobiles, and, you know, and when we don't follow our heart and just go, you know, when we don't just go see that person or call them up or something like that, we end up rushing the system by, you know, I don't really have all the answers for that. But I feel like we end up compounding our own problems by separating ourselves from ourselves. You know? That's what I feel like. I feel like now it's more difficult. We gotta have a passport. We gotta have money. We gotta have time. We gotta have a reason. And with all that time in between that we have to wait, we end up, you know, a lot of times we end up sinking further, or if we wait too long, we sink further, and we compound our own problem again. And it's all these compound elements that we create by, you know, having distance. And I'm not saying we always create distance. What I'm saying is that it happens, you know. We do this for some reason. And I guess that's a bigger picture to my experience last night, of that visual experience I had by compounding an element, because I had been, like, you know, trying to keep it simple. And then I, you know, got home from that road trip that I had. I went all the way from Connecticut to Arizona and back to Connecticut. And, you know, I kept it really simple. You know, I kept it really simple. And then I compounded the element by, you know, I'm not saying you can't eat or nothing. What I'm saying, this is just my experience, is that I had the same thing that I was eating, right? And I felt fine. And then I I went all, I tried a whole bunch of things at once, put it down on the track, and it was like my system was like, whoa, we're not used to this. Like, what is all this? So then I was like too cold because I was sweating. So I went, took a shower, and I'm like trying to do measures that make me feel more comfortable. And in that moment, when I worked out, I saw something too complicated. It was too complicated for this dimension. And I panicked. A little bit, just a little bit. So I went outside, I smoked a cigarette today, I calmed it down, moved a few things through my system. That's very simple, a very simple solution to go through my system, to just move things around. And then I ended up figuring out like a big truth about why compound elements, they're nothing to be feared. It's just maybe it's all just too much at once, it's just a little too much at once. Because this is also like a compound element, but it's liquid, it moves through you and helps you talk things out and calm down and stuff, you know what I mean? So that's all I really wanted to talk about right now, is my experience with that moment. So yeah, sometimes slowing it down is super necessary, to like stop and look at the whole picture and be like, oh, maybe that's why. Sometimes we rush too much. Sometimes we rush too much, and it compounds the element even more. Maybe that's the reason why feelings come out so harshly, is that, we bowl through it. We just bowl through all these emotions because we don't want to feel them. Maybe they're too powerful. I'm not saying you gotta like sit down and drown in your own tears. What I'm saying is that maybe that's the reason why things are happening the way they are, is because there's just simply so many compound elements that we're just trying to move through it. And it's understandable. It's understandable that these things are really complicated, and that we want things to be a little more simple. And we want these, people that we miss, and we don't want them to be so far away. We get unhappy with that, So I guess all I'm saying is that, sometimes taking a minute each day, taking a few minutes out of your day, and just sort of like calming down, and whatever calms you down, doesn't matter what it is, whatever it is that calms you down, just do it. Just try it out, and maybe that will help, release some emotions that have been swept under the cellular rug for a long time. Okay, that's all I had to share. Thank you for watching.